In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the new living hinge die with the edges from Presscut and the multimedia dies that go with it. Now, these dies are not the same as standard dies. These are a lot thicker. So the steel that these are actually worked from and made from is a lot thicker, and the actual cutting line is a lot deeper. So the cutting line is around 1.3 mil rather than being 0.3 mil, which is what you would normally have with a standard die. And that means that these can cut thick materials such as grey board, mount board and things like that, as well as metal cork and all the things you'd expect from a multimedia die. And that's the same for the living hinge and the edges, and also from the jigsaw pieces, the buttons and the corners. And what I'm going to do is just show you how to make the basic outside case like this. So this is a stationary set I've made, but I'm just going to show you how we make the outside and give a suggestion of how we get these little pockets. So to get started, I'm going to move the dies out of the way, and I've got here a piece of 12 by 12 paper. So this is 12 by 12 paper. I believe this is Stamperia. It's all from a Stamperia pad. And I have some grey board, and this is, I think, 1 mil, 1.2 mil grey board. And what I want to do is I want to cut 2 covers and a piece, and I'm going to show you how I would actually cover the card to start with. And this is the fantastic benefit of having a living hinge die, in that you don't have to have a grey piece or a black book for it to start with and then start trying to cover it. We can do our covering first, making it so much neater and crisper and giving you a much more professional finish. So I'm going to take a piece of the grey board, and I'm using a craft mount spray glue as it's a lot speedier, and this ensures everything is stuck down, but you could use a wet glue or something like that, but I would completely cover it as you would for cartonnage. So I've just put my piece down. I'm just going to trim it out. I'm using a craft knife. Obviously this is a lot thicker than standard paper or card. I think we're talking on this, as this is around 900 GSM, and obviously I'm adding to that as I'm adding 200 GSM to the front, and I would also add that to the back. So we'll grab our pad and we'll have a look. And we'll go with, I'm not sure actually, oh, I quite like this music paper. So we will add this music paper to the back. And that's the fab thing, as I said, about multimedia dies. You're not having to cover things afterwards, and you can also cut a lot higher levels. So we've taken this from about 900 GSM. I'm going to pop this paper on. Again, a Stamperia paper, and trim it down. So we've taken it with the 2 layers. We've got 900 plus another 400 GSM in the paper. So we're talking around 1300 GSM, which obviously a standard die wouldn't cut. And what we're going to do with this is I'm actually going to use this, and we're going to cut an edger on it. So just to show you how the dies cut. So we're just going to take one of the edger dies. I'm going to pop that on. I think we'll have it coming from this section here. Tape it down as standard. And obviously I want to try and get the best cut, so I want it going that way. So what I'm actually going to do is going to design this to give me 2 pieces. So I'm going to cut this off here. So I'm just going to trim this down. You see how much pressure I'm having to use with a knife. So we've got this piece here. I'd simply add this, and because it's going lengthways, I'm using my standard sandwich in my die. I'm putting the die in the middle, my 2 plates on, and I will run that through my die cutting machine. Now, what I've done here is going to make the outside cover. So I want to show you the living hinge. So got everything prepared with ribbon and everything. So I've made 2 panels exactly the same way as I covered the card in the first section. And I've trimmed these down, so I've got myself 2 nice cover pieces. And these have been cut to 6 inches by 8 inches. So I've got a nice front cover and an inside cover. I've then cut another piece from the waist, and I've cut this down to 8 inches by 3 inches, as the living hinge die is around 2 inches wide. That gives me enough to be able to create my fold. So I'll show you here. When I take the die off, you can see it's a lot thicker, and you may find your die warps slightly in the machine because they're so thick. Just push it back into shape. Your living hinge die certainly will. And again, I'm just going to take my knife and we'll finish these sections off, because your dies are 7 3/4 tall, and it's designed so that it can be extended out. So there I have 2 pieces beautifully cut in very thick board, and they'll make perfect sections to go inside my book. I'll show you when we get to it how we colour those. So using that technique, I've cut these panels out already, and I've just edged them in a little bit of blue ink. So there's the 3 sections of my book. So now I want to cut the living hinge into this centre panel. So I'm going to turn it around to have the outside, and I'm going to take the living hinge die and put it approximately in the middle, leaving a little border at the top and bottom. And you can extend this die on all 4 aspects, so you can make it as long as you want if you want to do a 12 by 12. You can make it as wide as you want if you want to go a full circle. There's a lot of different options with this. But now we're just going to create a simple spine for an easy book. So again, I'm going to take that, I'm going to pop it in the middle, and because I'm going lengthways, I can use my standard sandwich. If I wanted to do a whole sheet and I wanted to go that way, so if I wanted to go landscape, then I would need to change the pressure in my machine by altering my plate sandwich. So just try different plate sandwiches in your machine, or refer to the shows on Creating Craft, where I showed quite a few different combinations. So whilst that's running through, the next thing I'm going to use is a little bit on, this is power tape. So this is Crafts 2 power tape. I would suggest that you use power tape or a red line tape for this, or you can use wet glue, but obviously that needs clamping. So here we go. Can you see it's cut all the way through to the outside? When I pop this off, you can see that you've got your living hinge, and all you need to do is just curl that around the hinge just to get the outside bits going. But it's absolutely beautiful to me the way that we can now have a fully decorated hinge that doesn't have to just be covered in fabric or covered in paper or just painted. So now we're going to add our panels on. So I'm using here 9mm tape, which is great because it gives me just the right measurement. So make sure I'm putting it all on at the same level. So use the same tape throughout. So we'll put a piece down that side and a piece down that side. And I'm just going to cut that off. And then we're simply going to reveal the tape on each side. Very simply. Take our booklet. So this will be our front. So work out which piece I want for my front. I think I want that one. No, I think we'll go with that one. Put it against a straight line. Match it top and bottom against a straight line in your tape. And just put it down. And do the same with your back panel. And there we have a simple, beautiful curved binder or folder. Now, if you want to, you can cover these areas where the join is. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add a little bit of tape, and I'm using ribbon for this. So again, using the 9mm tape and putting this on each side. Very simple. I'm then going to reveal one piece of tape, and I've got some beautiful grosgrain ribbon with a stitch in it. So I'm just going to make sure it goes over up to the tape and just sort of turns the corner beautifully. turn the book over, place tape on the inside, just like that there. Again, we're going to reveal the tape. I'm going to neaten this section, cutting it straight, and fold that piece over onto the tape. Pull the longer piece up till it covers that. We'll just fold back a little bit, and we'll put a little extra piece of tape over this tape here so we can seal it off neatly. Reveal that, pull our tape over that section so you get a beautiful neat finish, and we just trim that off. So again, I'm going to repeat that so you can see on the second side. Gives you a beautiful finished edge. So reveal the tape, we hang one little piece over the top, pull it down straight against the tape, turn it over, take tape into the middle, there we go, cut that off. We'll trim off our little piece at the top so there's not too much hanging over, and again reveal our tape, fold over, a little bit more tape on there just to make sure that that stays nice and sealed. And again, I'd really recommend using something like power tape, or if you have to, a red line tape. There we go. And we'll simply meet that up to the top and trim that off. And there we have a beautiful neat inside and out basic start to our journal, our booklet, our stationery set. So many different ways you can use this, and wanted to show you just the basics. But to give you an idea, the pieces we cut earlier obviously are a little bit long, so we can trim those off, and we could add those on either side. We can build them up with foam tape, which will give us sections to push in, or we can put tabs in. So I've got a set of tabs made for this, so we can put tabs in against a spine, or again we could build those up against this area and actually build out a little stationery set with it. There are so many different options you can use with this, and what I've done is to decorate, I've taken a little tag that I've hand cut, and then some of the pieces, again using the jigsaw pieces, so I can pop some of those on, perhaps add a couple of little buttons around, and then I've taken the corner pieces, which are perfect for protecting. I've cut 4 of these because you get 4 dies, and we would simply add those onto the corners, and again inside, or you could use those to secure your tag down by just gluing the edges. There's so many different options you can do using these dies. They really are flexible, and it gives us something new and something different to do with all of our other dies and stamps and everything, rather than just making cards, which is why I love this so much.